Good afternoon, everybody. This is the first live. It is not a first broadcast. It is the first live uh, broadcasting for this, the Third Eye YouTube channel, or the Third Eye Watching YouTube channel, which is broadcasting for everybody around the world. Today, subject is about the struggle between power, between different parts of powers was supposed to be controlling the world. But in fact, all those so-called superpowers like United States of America, Russia, and China actually is active. All of them are activated by the one who is controlling and planning for the world politically, military, economically. And those indeed are the British or the English and the Jews. In this channel, what we broadcast consider to be the unseen side of events or the unseen plans for the world and the Middle East. Today, there is an interagency American delegation visiting the Basra Gulf states. There are 6 states. Those are Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Oman, Bahrain, Qatar, and Kuwait. This interagency delegation consists of different members of different agencies, like those who represent the Pentagon, other represent the State Ministry, other represent the White House, the CIA, the NSA, all now in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. But one should ask, for what all that? Why this interagency delegation in the Saudi Kingdom? Now, I don't know, most of you probably heard about the Carter Initiative. To understand what is going on in the Basra Gulf states or the region, the Gulf region and the Middle East in general. The Americans, by the British, giving the authority to run the Gulf, starting from Saudi Arabia. That's after the second war, word war. And in fact, that's for the people to see, but in fact, and in actual fact, the British hands and politics controlling everything through the Americans. Now, we all know that there are changes in the world. There is a new world rising, and there is a new world order policy. Obviously, what was known as unilateral world control power by, say, the Americans is no longer exist. And those who think that the Americans or the Chinese or the uh, Russian will control the world in a new system and in a new world order, that's obviously a great mistake politically for those that they think that would be the issue. The issue is completely different than what they thought. The issue today for the new world politics, a new world system, a new world order is controlled as always by those behind the scene, unseen. We do not like to state them as a deep state because the deep state has a very bad reputation on the hearing of the people. But let's say those who are controlling the world, they are the political plan, economical, military plan makers. We all know whatever some will give an explanation that the American in control. No, those who, as always, who are in control, the Royal Political Council. This is unseen council. If you know vague details about that, the Royal English Political Council, Secret Council, and the the other party who is controlling the world economically is the global Jewish political, financial, and military, political, financial, military, scientific institution or institute. Anyway, let's talk about what is the Carter Initiative, was, which was mentioned in the Union address in the 23rd of January 1980 by the ex-president Mr. Jimmy Carter. It is, in short, in simple terms, This initiative is after the 1973 war between the Arab countries and Israel. There was oil crisis, oil crisis, which which is, it took about 7 years. The whole nation of the world were suffering from that crisis, including the United States of America. So it came the Carter Initiative. The Carter Initiative, it has three main or major points which made the American administration at that time, Mr. Jimmy Carter, to be aware of such important issues. Those are three. First, the fuel crisis, the oil crisis. These are the three issues which, in turn, initiate initiated Carter to initiate this initiative. First, the oil crisis, the whole world nation were suffering of. Second is the invasion of the previous Soviet Union to Afghanistan, which became so close to the Basra Gulf and the Basra Gulf states, endangering the pouring out of the oil through that Gulf from those Gulf states, and of course from Iraq. At that time, also, there are two issues concerning Iran. One, the Khomeini revolution. Second, the first Gulf War between Iran and Iraq. So the initiative, in short, stated that the United States has all the right to protect its existence and the so-called the oil throughout the Gulf to United States. So it has all the right to interfere with in the Gulf state, supporting the Gulf state to protect the oil flow through the Gulf. What is going today and why we are talking about the same initiative after about 30, 43 years. That's about 4+ decades past. Now, let's, that's what the American and the others are marketing. We have the same an oil crisis, which was by the Saudi Arabia by Prince Mohammed, the same as 1973 crisis initiated by King Faisal of Saudi Arabia. This is number one. Number two, today there is the Russian Ukrainian war. It was before the Soviet Afghanistan war. Third, the Iranian revolution confronted the same regime, the Khomeini regime or Khamenei regime or Khamenei regime, uh, as it was in 1980. But in actual fact, that is not the issue. Not the issue because the Americans are trying to re-marketing the so-called the missile shield and protecting the Gulf, protecting the Gulf states, so-called the Gulf state, protecting its vital interest in the Gulf, such as oil. This is just a cover for a major thing. We know there is a kind of a military base in Rub Khali area for the so-called the red sand base for anti-missile base. It's anti-missile or aerial protection or interception of so-called Iranian missiles. But actually, that is not true. Because from the news we are receiving from different parties, although it is a bit vague, we are talking about Iranian threatening so and so, and on the other hand, we see that there are secret line through Qatar to re-insurrect the so-called Iranian nuclear treaty or what known as that. But in actual fact, that treaty will never resurrect it, never ever. And what the European and the American, which under the curtain they are have talks between them and the Iranian, and secret discussion and what they call it. There are messages, secret messages between the American administration, the Democratic administration, and the regime in Iran. Same wise or likewise, the European they have the same issue with Iran, trying to resurrect the nuclear treaty signed in 2015 by Obama. But the Americans should know, with the European, they also should know that this treaty will never ever see the light again. Because now the regime, whether the American likes or not liking, the same European, the same Russian or Chinese, this regime is out of date, out of control, and must leave. Now, the same issues they are marketing, this delegation marketing to the Gulf states or the Basra Gulf states. In fact, who manipulate or push the American, push the Russian, push the Chinese to come to the Gulf. It is as an entrapment. It is as this entrapment has been put or orchestrated by those who are putting the plans for the world. Again, we will say the Royal English and the Jews. And this is a fact the American already know, the Russian already know, also the Chinese. English policy, Jewish economy. No country in the world can survive without those two. Now, this race for the Gulf states, some of the Gulf analysis, the so-called, they call them watcher as political analysis, which they do not know what is going on. They are saying we are refusing the Americans because they couldn't prove for us that they can protect themselves. And took an example for that, the Chinese, so-called Chinese balloon, which flew over United States and Canada, and the American couldn't protect themselves, couldn't protect their neighbors, the near neighbors, next door neighbors, the Canadian from that balloon. So how they can protect the Gulf states, the Basra Gulf states? That what they are saying. Now they are renegating against the American, and they trying to put themselves as a rival for the Americans, or as a rival for the Russian, or as a rival for the Chinese, because we all saw how the Chinese daggering in the back Adam and Salman. They came, they said, we are with you, we are going to protect you, we are going to give you all the weapons they want, which I call Chinese weapon is just like some light paper flying in the wind. Just as a stolen technology is nothing more than that. Anyway, and we saw the Americans who want to protect the Americans who wants to protect the Gulf states. Secretly, there are discussion and meeting between them and the Iranian regime. So the European likewise. The Russian, they have a strong relationship with the Iranian. They are supplying the Russia with the remote control so-called planes, non-man planes, and ballistic missiles. Uh, as for the Chinese, they daggered Ibn Salman and they asked the Iranian regime president Ibrahim to visit China for the first time as an Iranian president visiting China since 40 years. So, as a matter of fact, it is not an initiative, or it's not Carter initiative, or not this interagency delegation coming to protect the American interest in the Gulf because threatened from Iran. How can one believe what the Americans are saying, or what the Russians are saying, or what the Chinese are saying for the Gulf states? They have the right to be questioning what they are saying. Those people are not dumb. If you are saying so, why you are connecting, or you has connection, which we don't believe is Qatar is it's just an illusion because the meeting are secretly between the Iranian and the American. It's going on between the Iranian and the European. Is going on in person, not through Qatar. Now, is it true what the Americans say or the Russian? No, no, no. All of those, they are just players on a chessboard. Above them, or one can say, they are just Bobbit or Mobbit in a Bobbit show controlled by hands over the theater, moving those Mobbit from above. And those are the Royal English Secret Council and the Jewish, Global Jewish Institute. This is, we are stating the Gulf states now. What is going on? This is all of it illusion, whether the Americans or the Russians or the European. All that illusion. The main fact, this is a test. What is called a test balloon. Just like the balloon, just like the balloon flew over United States, Canada, even over China. The main issue here, and this is for the Gulf people, is not protecting the Gulf. The main issue is to show you that the American, the Russian, the Chinese cannot protect you. Those who cannot protect themselves cannot protect the others. So the issue is, the real issue here is how those people will go back to the British and to the Jewish. This is the main issue. The main issue now, those two, the English, the Royal English, and the the global Jews, when we say global Jews, that means all the Jewish around the world, or the Jews around the world. But this time is not the Zionist Institute controlling the whole show now for the Jews. There is another institute which is called the Musavi Jewish Institute, led by the Iraqi Basra Jews, who is controlling all what concerned to the Jews all around the world, even not Israel and even not Iraq. No, what is, and even not the Freemason or the Illuminati or the Cabal. No, no. The Royal English Council for Politics around the world was created secretly and in complete secrecy before about 14 centuries. Initiated in 1834, declared as a council in, sorry, in 834, declared as a council in 837, and from that time to now. I want to just have one or two words about the mistake carried by the Zionist Institute, the Global Zionist Institute, so called, or the Mason, or the Illuminati, or even the Cabal. The great mistake was carried out by those institutes when they forced, or the so-called forced, the Iraqi Jews, especially the Basra Jews, to leave their country. But all these institutes did not know what the arrangement the Royal English Council did to protect the Iraqi Jews, especially in Basra, that is in the southern part of Iraq, on the Gulf of Basra, to create a system, watertight, airtight, everything tight. Started from 1949, 1950 to 1951, which created a new system controlling everything in the world. They are spreading all over the world, but the majority of the Basra Jews still in Basra, didn't leave Basra for a second, but they are not seen. Nobody knows. None, even one knows where are they in Basra. Even the Zionist Institute. So now those Jews of Basra created a tight system around the world, controlling economically, has the control economically, politically, military, scientifically. Every country in the world they are in, but none can see them or know them because they are mixed through the society. So the conclusion or the bottom line, none can protect the Gulf state from what is coming. There is a fourth Gulf War. This is a fact. None can deny it, none can derail, none can delete. Sorry, none can delete, or none can stop it. It's coming, it's coming. To liberate Iraq from the regime, which is exactly the same regime built by the Nazis in France, Fiji regime, built by the invader in Iraq. The same happened by after the invasion of Iraq, which took place in 2003, and the American brought those nobodies, low life, to control the land of God, the land of Abraham. Since we are talking about, then all of us should respect the land of Abraham, the land of God, and that is Iraq, the Mesopotamian land. So the Iraqi Jews, who's controlling everything around the world with the English, will force all other powers to give them back their land. Otherwise, all will suffer. We are confronting today two major wars, one in the Middle East, and that is the fourth Gulf War to liberate Iraq and to establish a new political system. This political system will be strong, central, no federation, Iraq all one, has one flag, has one anthem for all its people, regardless of religion, faith, ethnicity, military, one army for all the people of Iraq, and the only faith it will be Iraq faith as a country. This new Iraqi ruling system will be presidential, central, state of law, circular, not conservatives, because we are confronting, or not confronting, there is a global conservative institute controlling the whole world now, not the United States or not the new system in United States will be sacred conservative ruling system. No, all over the world. Once the morality, principles, tradition, discipline disappear, no country in the world or around the world can say it is a country. There is also, I hope, really, I personally hope that will not happen, but one cannot say it will not happen unless one sees that with one eyes sees that the people has certain type of people in the United States and Europe has few left people who has logic not entering a third war, a third world war because of Russia and Ukraine. Because this war in between Russia and Ukraine will not stop unless all goals of that war the third party pushed Russia to do will be accomplished. Mainly returning the so-called Eastern Bloc back to Russia and a new Western Bloc ruled by the British as it was always will be created. Otherwise, obviously, all of those we mentioned will go to war. One last advice for the Americans and the European, whether they want to listen to it or not, this is up to them. But believe us, you can't defeat Russia in this war. It is a destruction for all, but the destruction on Europe and United States greater than the destruction in Russia itself. It is not the issue of Putin or the Russian leadership. No, no, no. It is the issue who is behind this war. Not the American, not the Europe. Who is really behind the initiation of that war? Whether you want to believe or not, those are not the Zionist Institute, not the Freemason, not the Illuminati, not the Kappa. Behind this two is the first, the Royal English, the second, the Jews, led by the Basra Jews all around the world. I would like your comment on this issue. I would like and advise the American, Russian, the Russian is okay, the American, the Chinese, and the European to take a look for this matter from another perspective. The world is changing. That's a fact. One should realize that the new system is not a system of multiple poles. No, the new system was the system put in 1991 planning by the Royal English politician and the Basra Jews who are now in control for all Jews around the world. Maybe you find this is kind of fantasy, but it's not a fantasy, believe me, because we know things you don't ever think that you know them. We know about the unseen, but you don't know what unseen. You see, there is a rule, it's a combat rule. To fight someone or a rival, you have a rival, seen rival, so you can fight. But If you if that rival is a ghost, how you will fight a ghost? If you want to fight the royal English politician and the Jews, Basra Jews, you must see them. How you can find them? How you can fight them? Sorry, if one cannot see them. The vital question and the vital answer: who will win at the end? Of course, the ghost will win. Knows everything about you, but you don't know anything about the ghost. He's way, way, totally away from being not inside the ghost, even 1 mile near to that ghost. So I would like your comment. I will accept all the comments from all over the world, from the United States of America, from Europe, from any institute. So whether that institute, intelligence institute, military institute, political institute, whatever the institute, I will be an open heart and mind for criticism, for the opposite opinion. I will respect all the people around the world. We are not prejudiced, we are not racist, we are not religious or religion fanatics. We are just human, want to see the world stable, peaceful, secure, better war than ever. Thank you very much. We will have continuous broadcasting according to the time, which we will organize with the people, and we will issue a statement of the times we will broadcast, through which we will broadcast, and to let the Americans and the European knows know, sorry, know that in Iraq, not those bugger now in Iraq, no, in Iraq there are people, Jews people, who has such beautiful mind, so beautiful mind. Inside the machine planning for the world. We are going to have our country back, whether you want or you don't want. We know and we have all the abilities and all the resources to force you to accept our opinion, to return back our country to us, because this is the Jew country. Because this country of Iraq is belong to the descendant of Ibrahim from Isaac and Jacob. Remember this word, the Musavi Jews of Basra. Thank you very much. Take good care. Be safe. Peace upon everyone around the world. And we are waiting your comment. Thank you.